Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here again. And if you're new to my channel, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, hit a thumbs up. Okay, everybody, that was me fooling around with my Minnie Mouse voice or something. I don't know. Anyways, we're going to do a hand towel today. Crochet a top for that, and so I'm going to show you how to do that. So you purchase an ordinary cloth. In this case, I picked up one at our local gift shop. Open it up. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to fold it into thirds on each end. And I'm going to demonstrate how to do that in a moment. But this is what it's going to look like when you have it all folded up. This hand towel was the inspiration for what I'm doing here today, but mine is going to be crocheted. So here I am folding in each side first of all. And then I suppose you could sort of just fold it in an accordion fashion. And the truth is, you just sort of figure out how to do this yourself. Whatever's comfortable with you, however many folds you decide you want to have in it. And what I found was that once I had it folded the way I want, you could iron it, I suppose, but that's a whole extra step. And sometimes we don't want to do a whole extra step. So what I did is I just grabbed my moleskin journal and I laid it on top to press it down just slightly while I worked on other things. So I got a little bit of wool that I had, don't need a lot, and I started crocheting. This said chain 13, but basically what you're doing is you're chaining 11, and those are the 11 stitches that you're going to work with, or whatever number you decide that you need for the width of your project. Then once you do that, you chain 2 more, which is your side pieces. Then you go into the 3rd chain from your hook, and you start your single crochets all the way across your row. Single crochet means you put your hook in through the hole, you loop your yarn over, you pull it through, then loop your yarn over again and pull it through the 2 remaining stitches on your hook. I realized at this point I could fast forward the video, but for the sake of beginners, I wanted to show just with a little bit of ease how you can actually go into the space, wrap your yarn over, pull it through, and then pull it through the 2 strands on your hook. So that's a basic single crochet, just going into each space that the chain made. And when you get to the end, that's always a little bit tricky, like how do you know what space to put it in, where is that? And I'm going to show that to you. Because once you get the hang of that, the beginning and the end of the row is usually the problem that most people have. In this case, I'm just, with that first row, I'm just putting it in through the knot. And just work your way across. And it's always good, if you're a beginner, to count your stitches as you're going across. So that's 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 11, of course. And after a while, you get a bit of skill knowing just where that hook is going to go through, where the hole is, where the space is that you need to put your hook through, yarn over, and then through, yarn over, and then through the other 2 pieces, the other 2 loops over your crochet hook. You get to the end and it might feel like, okay, what do I do now? But you just sort of work your way. You'll get used to seeing this. And I will give you a closer demonstration of it a little bit later, but in this picture I have marked all the little holes where you would actually put your crochet hook through, put your yarn over, pull the yarn through that hole, then yarn over again and pull it through the 2 loops that are on your hook, and then you work your way across. What you want to avoid is that very first hole. If you keep crocheting in that very first hole, you will end up increasing your work, and you don't want to do that. You want to keep those 11 stitches right across. So I'm showing here into the first hole, second one, that's it, that's the one. Now we're going to speed this up a little bit so that we can just quickly get across the row to the end, so I can show you how to recognize those final 2 little stitches and know where to put your hook through. Here we are at the end, and you want to look for 2 little threads that you just insert your hook through. It may seem as though you're maybe going through the lower part of your work, but as long as you're consistent in what you do, then your work will stay straight. So you single crochet up, turn your work, and go in the first hole, in the second one, that is the one. Hook through, loop over, pull it through, loop over, pull it through 2, and you work your way across. What I'm showing you here now is how you can see your work is very consistent going across each of the holes. You've counted 11 across. Now when you get to the very end, you see those 2 little stitches. I don't want to call them lines. You just insert your hook through those 2, which is your end point. And that's important because otherwise you end up with too many or too little if you're not getting your hook into the proper hole as you work your way across. Here I am at the end again, because this is important if you want to keep your work in a straight line and keep it consistent, which I've said is often a problem for beginners, how to keep the right number of stitches and keep your edges straight. So I'm working myself across to the end. Now I'm going to go a little bit slower here. You just put it through those 2 little loops on the end. But after a while, you get so that you're able to recognize that there's not a hole like all the across the row. This end looks a little bit different. Through the 2 little loops, and then you complete your stitch. Single crochet up 1, turn your work, and start again. Once you've reached the desired length, which is going to go up and then fold over on itself, so it's approximately, I'd say, about 4 inches, but again, it depends on how long you decide you want it to be. As you're nearing the end, you're going to want to shape it, so you gradually decrease on the beginning of each row. The way you do that is, previously when you single crochet up or chain 1 up, turn your work, you would go into the second hole from your chain. Now you're going to go into the 3rd hole, right into the 3rd hole, and then you work your way across. You get to the end and you treat the end exactly the way you have been all along. You don't do any decreasing there. Your decreasing stitches go at the beginning of each row, and it will gradually shape your work for you. Second one, 3rd one, yes, that's it. Good, okay, we got it. You're going to want to be able to have a little buttonhole. And so what you can do is you can just crochet, single crochet across, and then do about 3 chains, which is what I'm doing there in the diagram or the illustration. Then you count over a couple holes. You skip those, and then you single crochet into the next hole, the next one, and then your end, of course. Then you do a single crochet up. That's me testing the size of my button to make sure it'll go through, which is always a good idea. But wool is stretchy, so almost any button's going to fit through. You just don't want it too big. Yes, 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 I get it. It works. The button. Yep. Okay. Move on. Okay, good. Okay, now you turn your work and you single crochet second from the hook the way you've always been doing, and then you get to your hole and you just single crochet into that. You probably want to do about 2 or 3 single crochets right over that band that you chained. And then you just pick up where you left off, go into the next hole, the next space. Get to the ever-present wonderful little end that's special with its 2 little loops. Get through that, single crochet, or at least I'm calling it single crochet. You chain up 1, and then you work your way across. And again, it's useful to count your stitches. So you go, remember, you're decreasing, so you're going to decrease on that first row, only on the beginning of the row, and keep your end the same as usual. Not at the end yet. Not yet. 1 more. Here we go. 2 little special loops. There we go. Pull it through, loop over, pull it through, chain 1, turn your work. There you go. And just work your way. Don't forget, decrease. First one, Second one, no. The third one, yes, that's the one. There you go. You're doing good, if I say so myself. All right, and you get to that wonderful little end, and there you go. And when you get down to 2 or 3 stitches, you can just cut your wool and pull it through, knot it, and work that end of wool in through your work. And that's it. Okay, remember that cloth we started with, where we were folding the sides in and just making a little accordion fold? Well, you bring that back. And what you do after you work your ends in from your crocheted piece, you just simply sew it right onto that cloth piece. And also you're going to sew your button in place, but I recommend sewing your crocheted piece on first, then your button, and tickety-boo, you are done. You've actually made a tea towel holder, hand wash, hand towel holder. I don't know what I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying. You got a towel that you can dry your hands on that's secured to the handle of your stove. A nice, neat little thing. And sometimes it's actually, depending on what fabric you've used, sometimes it's quite nice and pretty. In the winter, when I was crocheting hats, I decided I wanted to put a little decorative button on the hat. So I found this company, Brick Bubble, out west. I'm in Ontario. And I ordered some of these buttons. They're handmade. In fact, when I received my order, I could smell the wood burning effect on the little button. They have all kinds of products, so you might want to check them out. Different buttons, different leather pieces that you can sew onto hats or whatever your work is. Well, here we are with the finished product. and I put it on my stove. In this case, I actually made it as a gift for a friend, which is something you could do, or you could gift it to yourself. Hope you enjoyed this video.